Okay, welcome to the Chapter 18, Section 3, Completing the Worksheet and Journalizing and Posting the Adjusting Entries presentation lecture. Please make sure that you have the notes and the demo problems handy so that as we go through the presentation lecture, you can make sure and take down the key concepts from this section, as well as attempt the journalizing and posting of these entries and completing the worksheet. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, once the worksheet has been completed, what we are going to do is we are going to have the trial balance completed, done that, total them up, made sure everything equals. We've calculated out the adjustments, totaled it up, make sure the two columns equal. Then we are going to move over and we are going to calculate out the adjusted trial balance. Now, the adjusted trial balance is just going to take the number in the trial balance, determine if there was an adjustment, and then recording an updated balance. So for cash and accounts receivable, no adjustment, therefore those numbers just get pulled over to the adjusted trial balance. Now for the next three, merchandise inventory, supplies, and prepaid insurance, there was an adjustment, therefore we have to do the math, and because these are all debit side balance accounts, and the adjustment action is a credit, we have to subtract to update the balance. So now the new balance of merchandise inventory is listed in the adjusted trial balance, as well as supplies and prepaid insurance. We will then continue through all of the accounts as they are listed in the trial balance and do the math to determine if an adjustment needs to be calculated and then adjusted to the original balance of that particular account. So after we go all the way through that, and we list all of the accounts after they have been adjusted, we would total up the column one more time, make sure that they equal before moving on. All right, so once we extend the amounts to the balance sheet and the income statement section, we will then be able to calculate whether or not we have a net income or a net loss for this period. Now, we need to remember that the accounts that are going to get carried over to the income statement section are all of our temporary accounts, and the accounts that are going to get carried over to the balance sheet are all of our permanent accounts. So in demo problem 18.6, we are actually going to be taking the numbers from the accounts as listed in the adjusted trial balance, carrying them over to the proper columns, either income statement or balance sheet. After we have done that, we can then do the math to determine if we have a net income or a net loss, and then complete the worksheet by totaling the columns, proving and ruling it. So go ahead and give this one a try. Otherwise, we will be working on this one together in class next time we meet. Now, after the worksheet has been completed, those adjustments that have been calculated in the worksheet have to then be journalized so that we can update those account balances in our ledger. So when we go ahead and journalize the adjusting entries, we are going to begin a new journal page. Get in the habit of doing this because it helps organize your transactions for that particular accounting period. So you enter the heading in the journal, title it Adjusting Entries. That's right here. Then you will journalize in order that they were adjusted. Now, how were they adjusted? You can go back to the transactions clue, or you can also reference the worksheet, which is going to have the adjustments listed there as well. So in this case, we are first going to adjust merchandise inventory, then adjust supplies, then adjust insurance, and then the final adjustment, which is for our federal corporate income tax. After the entries have been journalized, then we have to go into the general ledger and we have to post them. Now, when we post these entries, we post reference the journal to the account number in which the number is to be posted. We then, when we get to the ledger, when we find the account merchandise inventory, we are going to reference back to the journal page the transaction was posted from. And then in the description, we will utilize, in this case, an adjusting entry label will be necessary here because this is not just a regular transaction for doing business. This is an adjusting entry at the end of the accounting period. Therefore, we have to label it as such. And then we would just post as normal and update the balance. Now we would do that for all of the adjustments that are listed there in the adjustments portion of the worksheet, carry it over, and then obviously complete the worksheet journalize the adjusting entries, post them, and then we have concluded our worksheet and the journalizing and posting of the adjusting entries. So section 3 is a relatively short presentation lecture. Just a couple of things that we will be going over next time that we meet in class. So please make sure and take a look at the notes, make sure you have the notes completed for all 3 sections, and then also attempting those demo problems, because when we get to class next, we will be focusing on and working through together demo problem 18.6. I will see you next time we meet in class.